Two famous baseball pitchers were discussing whether there would be any baseball in heaven. They made an agreement that whoever died first would come back and tell the other if indeed there was any baseball in heaven. A few months later, one of the men died, and just as promised, he came back to the earth and said to his friend, "I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is there is baseball in heaven. The bad news is you're scheduled to pitch next Thursday." Evil brothers that were extremely rich. They attended the same church and on the surface appeared to be good Christians. One of the brothers suddenly died. The remaining brother sought out the pastor and handed him a large donation. He said, "I only have one condition. At the funeral, you must say my brother was a saint." The pastor agreed and deposited the check. At the funeral, the pastor said, "This man was an evil man. He lied, he stole, he cheated people." After going on and on for several minutes, he finally said, "But compared to his brother, he was a saint." I heard about this pastor. He was new in town and he was going door to door inviting people to come to his church. And he knocked on this one door and he could tell someone was there, but nobody would answer. So he took his church card out and wrote on the back the scripture reference, Revelation 3:20, and left it on the door. The next Sunday after service, an usher handed him the same card. Under what he had written was the scripture reference, Genesis 3:10. Here's what they say, the pastor's words, Revelation 3:20. "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone answers, I will come in." The reply was Genesis 3:10. It says, "I heard your voice, but I was afraid because I was naked." There's a scripture for everything, isn't there? I want to talk to you today about the healing power of laughter. A lot of the sickness in our world is simply because we don't have the joy that we should. When we live uptight and on edge, it causes headaches, digestive problems, lack of energy. We don't sleep well. Much of this would go away if we just learned how to deal with the stress properly. And one of the greatest stress relievers God's given us is laughter. Laughter is like taking medicine. It not only makes you feel better, but it actually releases healing throughout your system. When we laugh, it restores and rejuvenates what the pressures of life have taken out. Most people today don't laugh as much as they should. They don't take time to play. They're too stressed to have any fun. We need to get back in balance. Life is not supposed to be all work and no play. You need to develop your sense of humor. Look for opportunities to laugh. Well, you say, "Joel, I'm just not a real jovial person. I'm more serious. I never laugh that much." And I realize God made us all different, but you can train yourself to laugh more. And I read where the average child laughs over 200 times a day, but the average adult only laughs 4 times a day. What's happened? We've allowed the pressures of life, stress, more responsibilities, little by little to steal our joy. And some of you today, you have not had a good, hearty laugh in 27 years. Your laugher is rusted and needs to be overhauled. You don't know how much better you would feel. You don't know how much more energy you'd have. If you'd make a decision, you're just going to lighten up and learn to laugh more often. Not once a month, not once a week, but every single day. Don't ever lose the child that's on the inside. Just because we get older doesn't mean we're supposed to get all solemn to where we never have any fun. We borderline on being grumpy. No, every healthy adult needs to have a child on the inside. You need to know how to work, but you also need to know how to play. You need to remember to have fun. I think about my father. When he was 75 years old, he would still laugh and kid just like he did when he was 20 years old. He was responsible, he was serious, but he knew how to have fun. One time we were in Mexico, walking down the main street of this little town. And these American tourists came up to my father, a husband and a wife, and they were looking for the post office. They couldn't find anybody to speak English. They thought, well, we finally found somebody that looked like us. And they said to my father, "Do you know where the post office is?" My dad looked at them real strange. He said, "No comprende." "No comprende español, amigo." They thought, oh no, he speaks Spanish too. So they said it real dramatically. Post office. Daddy shook his head. No comprende. They got frustrated, said it even more dramatically. Post office. Mail a letter. Daddy brightened up and said, post office? They got real excited. Yes, yes, post office. Daddy said, if you're looking for the post office, it's right around the corner.